Hey everyone, it's Andy. This is another episode of the Fountain of Youth with Andy, and today I just wanted to basically talk about the studies that are just coming out one after another, and it is, just it's getting a little scary. But before we jump into that, why did I start the Fountain of Youth of Andy? The Fountain of Youth of Andy was a brainstorm of mine. We're into episode 25, but it was a brainstorm of mine to share some tips and tricks on how to activate your body's own innate ability to heal, its innate intelligence. And of course, the biohacking tips and tricks to live a freakishly long time, right? That's what the Fountain of Youth is all about. Everyone knows what the Fountain of Youth is. So it's this mystical fountain. You drink the water and then you live forever, right? I'm not saying we can live forever, but there are studies showing that we can live for a pretty long time, 100, 120, 150, and now maybe even up to 200, right? Who knows, right? But basically, when the body has the unique ability to repair and heal itself, we could live pain-free, disease-free, with a lot of our energy and vibrance for a very long time. And there are studies around the world and all the blue zones that's showing this. But in the last 4 years, things have changed dramatically. And if you've been following me in the last week, I've been sharing a lot of data, in the last few weeks since we've been screaming about this in the last 4 or 5 years. But the data is starting to come out now, since we've been following Dr. Peter McCullough and Nicholas Hosher. They've been sharing all this information out wide, like out to the world. It's not just conspiracy theories anymore. There are a lot of studies that the pandemic or what was supposed to stop the pandemic, which are the COVID vaccines, well, they are causing a lot of side effects. And, we had Nicholas Hosher on our show twice and, talking about all the damages that they're seeing firsthand. And these are all peer-reviewed studies, right? This isn't hearsay anymore. This isn't by just a few doctors that are saying it. This is through peer-reviewed studies around the world, right? And this is becoming real, and it's something that I feel that it's our duty for those that want to learn more about this is to spread this information far and wide. I know Nicholas Hosher, Dr. Peter McCullough and the McCullough Foundation, and a whole bunch of other functional doctors and scientists are screaming it out. And yet when I'm talking to clients or friends or family, there's no information. We're not seeing any of this stuff. Andy, you're crazy. Well, I'm not crazy. Everything that we've been talking about, that we warned about in the last 4 or 5 years, has been coming true. And actually, a lot of it is much worse than I ever imagined, right? So today, I want to talk a little bit about this recent study. There was like 109 studies that's been looking into the potential side effects of the COVID vaccine, the mRNA vaccines, and what damages they can cause, right? And once again, I'm not trying to scare anyone. This isn't about trying to shame anyone. This is really about trying to get everyone aware. If you did get the COVID vaccine, be aware. You may be one of the many, not the few, the many that have damage inside your body that you don't know about. I shared a topic earlier this morning. 95% of everyone that had the shot has microclots throughout their body, right? And it may not show up right away as symptoms as a heart attack or a stroke right away, but there are a lot of symptoms that are slowly showing up. So it really is, I'm giving you the knowledge, the awareness to be aware that this is a problem. It's not going to go away unless you take action. But more importantly is, how do you test if you're going to have these potential problems? And then what are you going to do about it, right? So the studies that I'm talking about, and I'm just going to share that with you briefly here. This is pretty crazy. If you take a look at this, there are 109 studies now that linked the COVID mRNA vaccines to exploding. This is literally exploding autoimmune diseases, right? And the ones that are exploding is multiple sclerosis, lupus, type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, Graves' disease, and Hashimoto's thyroiditis or Hashimoto's, right? So these are all conditions where your body is actually attacking itself. It's called autoimmune because your body cannot distinguish what is good and what is bad, and it's literally attacking itself. And normally this is quite rare. You may have a genetic component, and these things may take years or decades to show up. But in these last 3-4 years, these 6 diseases have just gone nuts, right? No one's talking about it. Everyone is having the symptoms of these diseases, but they're not doing the tests, right? The spike protein, where they said that it stays in your arm after you got the shot. Well, they lied. It travels. It just travels throughout your body. It lands in organs throughout your body, and depending on which organs is landing on, it is confusing your immune system. Your immune system doesn't know what to do with it because your body now is actually continuously making spike proteins, right? When they told you that the shot was, oh, well, they're just going to stimulate your body, create spike proteins, and your body is just going to, create the antibodies, kill the spike protein, and be gone. Well, they sort of lied. It's been over 3 years now, and studies are showing that even if you had the first 1 or 2 shots, for a lot of people, your body is still a spike protein manufacturing facility, right? And this is basically, just imagine that your body is continuously on fire and you got no water to put it out. That's what's happening, right? It is so on fire now that your body cannot determine what is safe to be around or what's on fire, and it's just attacking the fire. And that's why you're getting all these autoimmune conditions. And it's really scary because it starts off with a lot of people feeling just slightly off. Maybe you're a little bit more tired, a little bit more brain fog. You're getting more joint pains. You're getting more aches and pains. And you go to your doctor and they'll say, well, don't worry about it. It's your age. Well, if you're in your 20s and 30s and you're experiencing this, I can tell you it has nothing to do with your age. And if you've been healthy, eating right, exercising, getting enough sleep for the last 10, 20 years, and you were super healthy, and now automatically you're having joint pains, you're having vision problems, you're having gut dysfunction, something's going on. Something turned on a switch, right? And these are symptoms that your body is literally screaming out and telling you that something's not quite right. And the problem that I am seeing is most people go to the doctor and say, I'm not feeling too well. I'm not sleeping well. My legs are swollen. My hands are hurting. I'm having vision problems, or my heart rate feels a little bit off. And the doctor will say, well, let's run some labs, right? And here's the biggest problem. They are just running the basic labs, right? And these basic labs are not catching what the spike protein and the COVID shots can be causing inside your bodies, right? So there are 9 specific tests that everyone should be doing, and they should be asking their doctors for it. And before I go any further, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. Everything that I'm talking about, I am a certified functional nutritionist, and everything that I talk about is my opinion and the studies that I've been doing in the last 4 or 5 years in all the areas that no one's reporting, right? Only the functional doctors, the scientists, the people that know the damage of what the COVID vaccine and COVID-19 could have caused back in early 2020 and digging behind the curtains. We are that elite group that is digging behind the curtains that mainstream media is not talking about. Your doctor may or may not know. And to be honest, there are certain 9 tests that basically test on your inflammation in your body, right? It will detect if your body is having autoimmune conditions, like if you are having rheumatoid arthritis, or if you're having thyroid problems, if they're just testing your basic thyroid panel, like your TSH, well, they should be testing your antibodies too to see if your body's actually attacking your thyroid. It's not a matter of just a high or low. You need to find out the root cause. And that's where a lot of the things come into when we talk about functional nutrition coaches, functional doctors. We're looking at root causes. What caused your body to start having these symptoms? They don't just automatically turn on. And back in the day, it used to be food, the chemicals and toxins and water in our food. But nowadays, something has triggered it. And we're seeing this exploding in the last 2, 3 years, right? And we need to figure out what is causing it, right? And we should be working with the doctors that want to help you. And I tell you, they are seeing all these conditions. So either they're being ignorant, or maybe their country, their province, their city is not allowing them to tell the truth. Whatever it may be, if the doctor's not willing to work with you, I urge you, find another doctor that will, because at the end of the day, your health is your own. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It's your own responsibility. And if you need to pick up that magnifying glass to start looking into your own health, needing their help, well, you need to find someone that's going to help you, right? So that's always very important. And like I said, we want to find out if we have inflammation. You have to find out if you start having autoimmune uh, biomarkers, right? And then, of course, you need to find out if you have actually spike protein injury. Are there clots in your body? Are there micro clots, right? It's not like a big clot where it stops your heart right away, even though we are seeing that in some people. But it could be these really, really small amyloid microclots. And I shared on a Facebook post this morning. I don't know if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. There's studies coming out now that 94% of every single person that got vaccinated has amyloid microclots circulating in their body. It just depends on how high the numbers are. But it's a fact. Everyone that got the shot has it, unless, of course, you got some of those placebo shots or the degraded shots or whatever it may be. The only way to find that out is to check the batch number of your COVID vaccine, right? So once again, we need to catch these microclots, because these microclots, depending on where they're going to your brain, you're going to cause neurological problems. If it's going to your heart, it's going to cause heart problems, going to your lungs, breathing problems, going into your joints, going into your gut. It's just causing all sorts of problems, all sorts of dysfunction, disrupting your hormones, right? And once again, the six autoimmune diseases is multiple sclerosis, lupus, which is like basically autoimmune on fire throughout your body, type 1 diabetes, which means your pancreas is not working properly anymore, right? And then rheumatoid arthritis, Graves' disease, like a super active thyroid, or Hashimoto's, which is an underactive thyroid. And the fact is, I know all these problems are exploding, and no one says, well, how do you know, Andy? Well, we don't watch cable television. Okay, I think me and Minna, we stopped cable television a long time ago, but just like everyone else, we have Hulu, we have Apple TV, and we have Disney, right? And we are always seeing commercials that's talking about all these autoimmune conditions that were never there before, and they're starting to have these new autoimmune condition drugs that were non-existent 4 or 5 years ago, right? So you have to wonder, why all of a sudden are there so many drugs to treat autoimmune conditions, to treat arthritis, to treat psoriasis, to treat eczema, to treat heart conditions, lung conditions, right? It's crazy. Could it be something cause all this, and now they're cashing in on the back end? I don't know. I don't really want to go into that whole conspiracy theory about big pharma causing the problem and then coming out with the solution. But to me, that's what it looks like, right? But let's get back into the facts. The facts is the doctors are not running these tests. And there's going to be more and more people sick because your body is going to be continuously generating these spike proteins, which is going to cause chronic inflammation. It's going to cause immune confusion. Basically, your body doesn't know what's a good guy, what's a bad guy. It's just going to attack everything. So we're going to see a lot more autoimmune conditions. Like I said, it's going to have way more and more spike protein. And the amyloid microclots, this is crazy. You're going to start having microclots throughout the body. It's like a ticking time bomb. You lit the fuse, and when's that time bomb going to go off, right? Where is it going to go off? It's not a matter of if it'll go off. It's a matter of when it's going to go off, right? So this is really important. And then, of course, of all this chronic inflammation, our mitochondria is just going ape shit. There's so much stress in our cells, and our mitochondria is basically the powerhouses that power up our cells, that powers up the repair. And I tell you, when the main engines, like the power plants, the mitochondria has dysfunction, we're going to have problems. Cells aren't going to, you're not going to have as much cell regeneration. You're going to have more mutations. The mitochondria is very, very important. But here's the good news, right? Once again, this is about awareness. This is not trying to scare you. Here's the good news. You can catch a lot of these symptoms early, right? It's really about, you got the warning signs, the red lights, your body signaling, hey, you're tired all the time, right? You got joint pains, you got vision problems, your heart's beating more, you're getting diagnosed with all these autoimmune conditions, and the doctors say, well, we don't know what's causing it. Well, test, don't guess, right? There are 9 tests that you should be going for, and your doctors will know it. Once again, I'm not a doctor, but I can guide you with a doctor that I work with to get these 9 tests. So if you're interested in finding what those 9 tests are, DM me or message me. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to give these tests out, but I can help you interpret these tests if you got them down, right? The next thing is you need to find out how high your spike protein is. And I cannot stress this enough. Everyone needs to get the COVID antibody test, right? And I mean everyone, not just the people that got vaccinated, right? You must have heard me and Minna, we get our COVID antibody test every 3 to 4 months. And I already told you, neither of us are vaccinated, all right? But we are out all the time. We travel a lot. And I can guarantee you, when we're going to Canada, which was 90% vaccinated, if not more. And even in the United States, I think it was 84% vaccinated. We're around people that's vaccinated. And what people aren't telling you, but it's showing, there's studies showing this, is the people that got vaccinated, they're actually shedding. They're shedding the spike protein that they are continuously making in their body. So here you are in the beginning when he said, protect your children, protect your grandmother. Guess what? If you got vaxxed, you're actually endangering everyone around you unless you stop making these dang spike proteins. So you need to test what your spike protein antibodies are, which will tell you if your antibodies are stupid high, that means your body is a spike protein factory. And that's a problem, right? So we need to figure out what that is. And then you need to figure some way to detox out the spike protein and then get tested again every 3-4 months to make sure if these numbers are coming down. You can't just do one test and say, well, okay, the number seems okay. And then hope it's going to continuously come down. What people don't understand is this is no longer eating better. It's no longer exercising more. Is no longer sleeping more, because your body is continuously making this poison. So I don't care what you're eating, all right, like what type of diet you have, or how much you're exercising, or how much you're sleeping. Your body is never going to be able to repair unless it can detox these spike proteins out. So not only do you need to detox it, you need to figure out how fast you're detoxing it and how low you're getting it down. And then, of course, we need to worry about clearing these amyloid microclots, right? 94% of you all that got that vaccine has microclots in your body, right? This is a fact, right? And depending on how long you can continue to build the spike proteins, you can get more and more. And where it ends up, you may develop these autoimmune conditions, or maybe you already have them and don't even know about it. But worse, we're seeing turbo cancer. We're seeing much worse things. So you really want to, get rid of these microclots. You also want to detox the spike protein. And of course, we won't need to support our mitochondria. We need to support back the powerhouses of our cells, right? We need to get our cells charged up where it can start repairing itself. And we need to restore our immune system, right? So for all of you out there that are getting sick every few weeks, every 1 or 2 months, right? And you believe, oh, it's because of that bug out there. Well, that's crazy, because if you just think back 4 or 5 years ago, the only time you may get sick is around flu season, which is around winter time. And even then, you may or may not get sick. You should not be getting sick throughout the year, right? If you're getting sick throughout the year during summer and whatever, it's no longer about the bugs. There's always some virus out there. We're living in hundreds of thousands of millions of viruses around us at all times. It's about how strong our immune system is. And once again, there's studies showing that the vaccines cause VAIDS, right? Which is basically vaccine-induced immune system damage, right? So basically, we damage our immune systems with these COVID vaccines. And this is studies of only 1 or 2 shots, right? If you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't even know how many there are now. If you had more, you're going to have even more of a damaged immune system. But just even having that first 1 or 2 have already damaged your immune system, because you are continuously making the spike protein. So that's really important. We need to restore back the immune system. So what can we do, right? First off, like I said, get the antibody test what your spike protein levels are. Second is find ways, some natural ways, to break down and degrade your spike protein in your body, right? And there are studies showing that bromelain, which are in pineapples, if you've been watching some of my posts, we've been stocking up on pineapples. Our local HEB supermarket's been selling them for 77 cents a pineapple. And oh man, over the last week, we probably picked up 24 pineapples, right? So we're eating it fresh, we're drying it, we're freezing it, but we're always going to have pineapple throughout the year to make sure we got bromelain inside our body, which helps break down the spike protein. The other thing that you need to worry about is the amyloid microclots, which is caused by the spike protein, right? And this morning I shared a quick video on nattokinase. Nattokinase is one of the natural enzymes that can actually break down the amyloid microclots. There's studies showing in vitro that it can break down 84% of microclots within 2 hours, which is pretty insane, right? They didn't do the test in the human body, but in vitro, in the petri dish, that's what it shows. So definitely nattokinase works well to break down these amyloid blood clots, which 94% of you guys have, along with possibly all of us that were not vaccinated, because we're around vaccinated people, right? Because remember, shedding's real. So one of the things I showed you is natto, which is a fermented bean coming from Japan. They did a lot of studies in Japan that this works great in breaking down the amyloid microclots, and not the most pleasant thing to eat, right? So our best choice is to use the cellulose evening, because one of the active ingredients it is in there is nattokinase, right? So if you want to get nattokinase without eating the nasty fermented bean, reach out to me how to get your hands on some cellulose evening. This is what it looks like. Not only does it help you sleep better, but while you're sleeping, it's actually helping you break down some of these blood clots because of the nattokinase, right? So that's really, really important. And then when it comes to active repair, right? Because I don't think when your body is so damaged and toxed up with these spike proteins, you're a spike protein manufacturing facility right now. It doesn't have the ability to repair itself. Like, your passive ability to repair itself is losing battle. You got fires in your body and you're putting it out with squirt guns, right? We basically need to help our body elevate our body to a higher level, right? To start attacking these fires, attacking the spike protein, lowering the inflammation that's being caused by the spike protein, right? And one of our ways that we have found that work amazing, right? This is a product that I was introduced to 2.5 years ago, are LifeWave products. So we have the LifeWave X39, which elevates your GHK-Cu. And when your GHK-Cu is elevated, one of the beautiful things is it lowers inflammation. And remember, all these autoimmune conditions, it starts with constant inflammation to the point your body's attacking itself. So lowering it down, it's going to be a big plus. But the other thing is with the spike protein and getting your body confused, it's turning on all these bad genes, right? So GHK-Cu have shown within 24 to 48 hours, it can reset over 4,000 genes back to a healthier and younger state. So elevating your GHK-Cu is another great benefit to actively, not passively, get your body to start repairing itself, right? To turn those squirt guns into fire hydrants with large hoses to start putting out this fire. And one of the beauty of the GHK-Cu and the LifeWave products is it's non-transdermal, right? If you take a look at it, this is so genius. All it is, this is what it looks like. It's just this little patch, and I have one right here. And all it is using your body's own infrared light and heat to activate, to turn your body to start making its own GHK-Cu copper peptide. So that's just genius. There's nothing going in the body. We're stimulating our body to elevate GHK-Cu. And with all the damage that's going on right now, one of the things that we also want to elevate is stem cells, right? I'm talking about areas in the whole body that's getting damaged, that's getting hurt. And stem cells are God's repair system. Stem cells will turn into whatever cell it needs to. If you got a heart damage, you got joint damage, you got vision damage, lung damage, pancreas damage, whatever it may be, stem cells will turn to what your body needs most, right? So with the X39, we're elevating GHK-Cu. And when GHK-Cu elevates, one of the coolest things of GHK's copper peptide is it reactivates dormant stem cells in your body, and over time will activate new ones, right? So this is very, very important, not only for the young ones, but especially for all of us that are 30 and above, because when you're 30, we lost about 50% of our active stem cells. But by the time you're 50 or a senior like us, 55 and above, we're lucky to have maybe 10 to 20% of our stem cells that are still active. So of course, if we're having all this inflammation, we're fighting these spike proteins, and we don't got stem cells to help repair the body, whoa, we definitely need to elevate that GHK-Cu to get our bodies to create more stem cells to put out these fires that the spike protein is doing. And finally, the beauty of the GHK-Cu and the X39 is it elevates your glutathione. And your glutathione is your master antioxidant, right? And, doing my own studies, once again, check your studies. This is only what I'm finding, right? When you elevate your glutathione, it's, not only does it help you detox heavy metals, it helps detox a lot of toxins and buildup in your body, right? And if you're doing the COVID antibody test to see your spike protein levels, even for me, I noticed that they come down quite a bit when our glutathione levels are elevated, right? So it's elevating your glutathione is your master antioxidant, which helps you not only detox chemicals out of your body, but boosts your immune system, right? So that's something we want to do. We need to boost our immune system because our immune system's gone down. Remember the VADES. That's why so many people are getting sick all the time, because your immune system is damaged. And it's going to get worse and worse until you develop autoimmune conditions, worse and worse until you develop cancer, right? So, and that's what we're seeing. This is not trying to scare you all. This is what's happening. Your body is going to cause this to happen. It's just not a matter if, it's going to be a matter of when, right? So it's really, really important to take back active control of your own health. Once again, your health is your responsibility. And last week, I talk about who do we live for. So many of us are so selfish about our own health. Well, it's only my health. If I die, I die. Well, wake up. If you have any problems, you're affecting the life of your loved ones. Now they're taking their time out to take care of you. And if they love you, they're going to do it, right? But what if they didn't have to take care of you? What if you can live long and healthy for the rest of your lives? That's what my passion's all about. I really want to help 1 million people around the world to live long, healthy lives without chronic disease, without using medication they don't need to use all the time, and having their vibrance, for over 100, right? Still doing all the stuff you love when you're over 100, not only up to 50, but over 100, right? I'm 55. The way I'm looking at it, like a lot of people, wow, you're a senior. I don't even know if I hit, my midlife crisis yet, right? I think I had it in my early 30s when I was sick, but now I am healthier now than I was 12 years ago. So that's what can happen, right? I really want to inspire all of you. When you take action into your own health, you can not only repair the damage that's been done to you over the decades, but you can make your body super strong and super resilient, right? So always be the person that's in charge of your health. Don't let that be the responsibility of others, especially your doctors, right? Do not let doctors be the responsibility for your health. And once again, make sure when you're choosing your doctors, if they're not willing to work with you, if they're saying, "Oh, you're crazy, don't fall into this BS," cite the studies. If you want the studies, I'll send you the studies. Send them the studies. And if they still say, "Well, this is bogus," after all, it's peer reviewed around the world, guess what? It's time to get a new doctor. I'm sorry, doctors, right? A lot of my best friends are doctors, and a lot of things we see eye to eye. But when it comes down to the COVID vaccines, we don't. And they're still turning a blind eye to it. And truthfully, it really hurts my heart that they are hurting others with their advice and they're not waking up, right? So for all my friends out there that are doctors and that are still not aware that the spike proteins, the vaccines, have caused damage, and you're not doing the due diligence, not only for your own health, but for the health of all your, all your patients, shame on you, right? But for all the doctors that's doing the work, sharing the information and sharing the tests and the protocols to get this spike protein, this poison tox out of your body, to make your body stop producing this. Kudos to all of you, right? Because we are doing God's work. We're helping people elevate their lives where they need to be elevated, right? So anyways, you don't need to do this all alone, right? If you have any questions, reach out to me at longevitywithandy.com. And if you want to be in a more private community, I am starting a private WhatsApp membership group where you can ask me anything, nothing's off limits about health and longevity. This is a group I'm working with someone else to put together. It's only $10 a month. It's going to be on a WhatsApp private community. Reach out to me if you want to be part of that community. This is something that you can feel safe to ask your questions. I'll share protocols that I've done the studies on, right? Once again, I'm not a doctor, right? But I'm sharing longevity protocols. I'm not sharing medical advice, right? Remember that. This is not medical advice. This is longevity protocols to boost your health upwards, right? So reach out to me when you get a chance, or share this episode with your friends, with your family, with those that thought you were crazy for not getting vaxxed, because guess what? You're healthier and the unvaxxed are not dying. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Once again, I'm just trying to help everyone to be more aware. You cause damage to your body for whatever reason. It's all right. It's not judging you. It's about helping you, get into a better place to start repairing your body and to live a freakishly long time. Always love what you live and live what you love. Goodbye now.